Hello and welcome to the Boro Breakdown Podcast. Boro beat Norwich to move level on points with Coventry, who topped the table only on goal difference. It's now 5 wins on the spin for Kim Hellberg's side, and it's fair to say the Boro are buzzing. Matt and Tom join me for this one. We'll start with the big story from just another incredible game week for Boro then. After Coventry beat Boro on November the 25th, they were 10 points ahead of us. Now we're level on points with them. How does that feel?
Surreal. I thought after Coventry beat us, I was like, that's it now. Coventry are away with it and away with the league. And then, it just seems like they've been wobbling a bit recently. And I actually, not that I want to kind of focus too much on Coventry at the moment, but I actually saw something from Lampard a couple of days ago where he was like, it's unrealistic to expect the standards that we set early in the season consistently throughout. And I was like, why is he sort of tempering expectations there? Like, that sounds to me like he knows a little bit more than he's letting on about this wobbling form. You know, maybe everyone's like knackered from exerting themselves early in the season or something. And then on the flip side of things, we've just done amazingly well since Kim Hellberg came in. Obviously, we had the spell over Christmas, but every Borough manager has a spell over Christmas. It's just what we do. And then we've picked right back up after that with some really impressive wins. And I would actually, I'd argue that yesterday was the most impressive win of the lot. You know, we can look at like the last minute goal against West Brom or like the results against Southampton and Preston, but yesterday was a hard fought game that not Preston, Norwich really made us work hard for. They came into it bang on form, and I think it's as Kim Hellberg said in something yesterday, that if the season had started now, you'd be looking at Norwich as a team who was going to finish around the top six. I watched them on last Monday against Coventry where they won. I thought they were really good there. I went into yesterday expecting a really tough game, and we got it. And I thought thoroughly deserved the win. I can definitely see what some Norwich fans are saying, where they say, could have easily been a draw. But for me, we deserved the win, and it was incredibly hard fought as a game. It was two good teams going at each other, so it was a really enjoyable one to watch as well.
Yeah, it feels amazing to be level with Coventry. Like Tom, I thought they'd gone. I didn't expect them to maintain the standards they'd set at the start of the season completely, but I still thought they'd do enough to just pluck away. And I thought the margin of error they'd gave themselves, they'd just manage it and they'd stay out front. But I think a mix of them and their away form, especially falling off an absolute cliff, and Boro just being so consistent, has got us back into this position. And there was a period, I don't know if it was when we dropped behind Ipswich, we went into third for a brief spell, and part of me at that time thought that's probably slip away from top two. We might see it slip away. We'll consolidate a playoff place. Never did I think I would be seeing us not only top two comfortably at the minute, albeit there are a couple of games in hand beneath us, but joint top. And you'd have to say, with current form and I guess the trajectory of all the sides in the league right now, that's where we're heading. That's the direction we're heading in. And I think we discussed this last week. Is it fair to say we're actually improving under Kim Hellberg? Like, we are actually getting better incrementally every single week. I think defensively maybe it's gone under the radar a little bit because we've been so good going the other way, but I think defensively we look really good. Creatively, we're good. We're scoring goals. We're getting goals from all areas of the team, from back to front as well. So there's a lot to be positive about. And I guess this team just keeps giving us reasons to believe in them. So, yeah, we'll see how things go. I mean, I don't know if we'll be due a blip or a point dropped here or there. We probably will. But I think we're performing so well that if we do drop a point or two, I think we'll get straight back on it. And we've proven twice already now that we can string wins together under Kim Hellberg. And I think if we do that, dare I say 2 or 3 times again between now and the end of the season, we might be as good as there. So yeah, it's always, the devil on one shoulder saying, calm yourself. This is Middlesbrough. Don't let them break your heart again. But at the minute, I've got no reason to not believe in Hellberg and what this team is doing.
Yeah, absolutely echo that. I think drawing level on points with Coventry is huge. It really is. And full respect to Coventry, I know that we play them in 2 weeks and things could change, but I think we should enjoy this. This is significant because when we played Coventry on the 25th of November, the game before Kim Hellberg took charge of Middlesbrough for the first time, we lost that game 4-2, and it was Coventry coming to the Riverside and beating Boro again. And I felt crestfallen after that game because we could have notched ourselves 3-2 in front with that Tommy Conway chance. And listen, there's no guarantees in football, but we could have gone on to hold that lead and win that game. And we didn't, and we lost. And that meant they were 10 points ahead of us. And for the longest time, it felt like Coventry were untouchable, like they were uncatchable. But they've been caught, and Boro have caught them. And I tell you what, it is significant. It really is. And I really don't feel like we should downplay this. I know people will be like, yeah, well, don't get too ahead of yourselves. I don't think anyone is. Tom, I don't think anyone is. I know that, I understand Tom trying to temper the emotions because, yeah, we've been burnt in the past. But how many times can we say that we have been in this position? How many times can we say that we're the best team in the league? Because I really do believe that we are right now. Only Hull come close to us at this moment in time. So I think it would be a misstep for me to calm my emotions and try to put a cap on them because this is special. And yesterday was special as well. I actually, full credit to Boro because I know that Coventry have endured a blip. It's one thing having your promotion rival having that blip, and one Coventry fan put it as the wheels haven't just fallen off, we're crawling on our bellies at the moment, so they're really not happy with their recent form. But it's another thing actually taking advantage of that, and 5 wins in a row for the first time since late 2023 under Michael Carrick. Massive, massive, massive credit to Boro. I'm incredibly proud, and I'm so happy to be a Boro fan right now. I feel like I am on, as the title suggests, Cloud 9, and I really, really, truly do not want to come down from that. I'm loving every second of this, and I hope other Boro fans are as well.
Yeah, I think as you alluded to there about me trying to not get carried away, I think I'm just scared of believing in case I get it again because of the amount of times it's happened in the past.
It's the scars, Tom. You're covered in scars.
Yeah, exactly. But the interesting thing was, and I was talking to my dad about this after the game yesterday. We sat waiting to get out the car park. I turned to him and said, how does this compare to what we've done before? Because I've only experienced us being promoted, well, I guess twice, but I can't really remember that game against Oxford back in '97 because I was free. Yeah, I said, how does this compare to those times? Because my reference point's Karanka, and I'm starting to kind of get the same level of confidence in some aspects, but I'm still reining myself in because it's still a relatively small sample size under Hellberg. But I said, how does this compare to what we did under Brian Robson? And he said it feels very similar because we're up at the top, we're playing good football, and there's a lot more togetherness. There's no managers walking out or anything like that. It doesn't seem fractured in any sense. It feels more similar to going up under Brian Robson than under Karanka. So I hope that's right, and I hope that continues for the rest of the season. I think maybe if we get through these next couple of games, I'll start to be even more optimistic, and maybe join you guys on Cloud 9. But yeah, I just let's say scared of getting hurt again.
Yeah, I do get you. I think a lot of the time in football, people wait for the success and the crowning moment, the promotion in the context of Boro season, to be able to enjoy it. But I think about my favourite season, 2014-15. That is my favourite season, even though the following season we got promoted, because they took me on a journey, and I'm a sucker for a journey. I am watching Championship football, but specifically Ipswich, Coventry. I'll probably watch Hull as well, because that in itself is part of Borough's journey, hoping that they drop points. I'm not a big watcher of Championship football. I'll hold my hands up and admit that, because if I don't feel invested in the game, I don't have the pull to actually watch it. But I'm embedded in this promotion race, and I'm loving every single second of it, and I'm just going to embrace it, because much like 2014-15, Boro are taking me on a journey right now, and I really hope that, unlike that season, it ends in promotion to the Premier League. Matt, the game yesterday against Norwich, yet another fantastic result in Boro's season, a huge win, considering that, as we've spoken about, Coventry dropped points. Well, they lost against QPR. We thank Clive's love for words as QPR for that. How would you assess the performance against Norwich yesterday?
I thought it wasn't our best performance with the ball. We've definitely been better under Hellberg in that respect, but we'll get on to it. Out of possession, very, very good. And let's not, disregard the opposition we were coming up against yesterday. I looked at the next 3 games and I thought, Coventry away is probably one of the toughest games we can ever think of, and being Boro and our record there and going to Sheffield United's never easy. But I looked at Norwich yesterday and I thought this might be the toughest hurdle to get over, because they are in such great form. They've got 3 attacking players who have had goal contributions coming left, right and centre for the last couple of weeks, and they're resurgent. And I thought this is going to be a really awkward game, a really difficult game, and we're going to have to really be on it. And I thought we managed it really, really well. There was spells in the game where we were on top, they were on top. I wouldn't say there was many big chances in the game, but I guess a good description of just Boro right now is the key moments where you needed quality, you needed them really big, important contributions. We had them, and quite fitting in a way that they came from 2 Teesside lads. Obviously, the goal from Hackney was outstanding, and I every day count my lucky stars that he is still here. And I saw a quote after, I think I saw a quote getting shared around by one of the journalists anyway, and they were chatting to Hackney after the game, and he kind of just poured cold water on any speculation, any chance of him leaving. He's not going to leave anyway, but he said, my dream is to get promoted with Middlesbrough. And I just thought, that's exactly what you want, a player of his quality. And he just had to have him in the team, and to see him score a goal like that was unbelievable. And then at the other end of the pitch, Norwich provided such a great threat. I thought Makama was a nightmare, as expected. He gave our defenders a real hard day. And Dale Fry's intervention, and we'll probably talk about it, was just, dearie me. I mean, as a centre-back, you can't have a bigger contribution off the bench than that, literally clawing the ball from beneath Makama as he's 5 or 6 yards out, whatever it was, into an empty net. So to see, Hackney and Fry having them 2 contributions just makes it even sweeter, and just makes you feel so proud of Boro and the players we've brought through and the performance. But the one thing I do want to say, especially not just the performance of the players, but of the supporters yesterday. I mean, when Hellberg said we were fighting for every ball, the players, the fans, everyone, that's exactly what it was. I thought, especially the final 20 minutes when news come through, and this is the sort of thing you'd expect on the final day. It's crazy to think this was 17 games out, but this is how important it is. And when the news came through that they were both losing at the time, it was like we were fighting for every ball, every header, every tackle, every stand was up. It was so good. And there was a moment at the very end where Luke Ayling dropped onto the ball, and I don't even think we should call it the Paddy McNair flop. I think Luke Ayling's just taken the mantle now. It's the Luke Ayling flop. And I saw it from where, I don't know if you guys had seen it from the stand you're in, because I think he was facing the west, but he dropped on the ball. And when the ref gave him a free kick, he just looked up at the west stand, and he was just nodding, and he was doing this on the floor because he knew how important it was. And I just thought, they're the experienced players in them moments who can just, manage them key moments in the game. I just thought, from back to front, we did really well. It was a different sort of victory, a different sort of performance. It wasn't a swashbuckling 4-0 against Preston where we looked dazzling and were fantastic, we're creating chances. It was a hard-fought win over a very good team, and how big can them two moments prove to be from Hackney and Fry at the end of the season. It was a huge win against a very, very good team.
Yeah, it wasn't as swashbuckling as the romp against Preston the previous home game, but I loved it all the same. I really did, because it's something about when you're under the cosh, when the stakes are high, when you're seeing passes go astray and clearances getting skewed, last-ditch defending. I think that embodies Boro, really. When the chips are down, it's that siege mentality, and we saw a good chunk of that in that second half in particular. I thought, to be fair, like Luke Ayling said on Instagram after the game, not always pretty, but they count all the same, and I echo that completely. I do think Boro played some good football up until the goal, and then after the goal, I just think we lost our way a little bit. The combinations that were proving really fruitful and before the goal happened just weren't quite connected in the same way. I think Norwich probably got to grips with Boro a little bit. Their press was a little bit more on point. They shut out the space, particularly between the lines. Boro have this identity in their play under Kim Hellberg where they'll overload certain parts of the pitch. And on the right-hand side, you'll see Callum Britton, you'll see Hayden Hackney, you'll see Tommy Conway, you'll see Morgan Waker, maybe even seen Alan Brown, who was popping up everywhere yesterday, trying to outnumber Norwich and bring players from the middle and the left-hand side of the pitch further towards the right, and then we'll hit them on the opposing side. There were so many times where I saw Whittaker, and to be fair, he had a chance in the first half where he got through, and unfortunately it was very obvious to everybody in the stadium, I think, what he was wanting to do, try to bend that, wrap his left foot around it and bend it into the opposing corner, and the keeper read it, really. But he was in so much space. Alan Brown, the same, had so much space. Callum Britton, the same, had so much space on that side, because Boro just enable these situations where they can have that space, because on the other side they've outnumbered Norwich and essentially dragged them towards the ball. So I think that was good before the goal, and then after that I do think we lost our way a little bit. Second half was quite interesting because we started it really well. Tommy Conway had a chance where he peeled out onto the left-hand side and put a ball in straight across the face of goal. No takers for that cross, unfortunately. And then for the longest time, just nothing happened, apart from half of Middlesbrough's seagulls descended on the riverside. And I mean, it was probably a good thing that nothing happened in that game, because the TV producers probably would have been annoyed that the seagulls got in the way. But it got really scrappy. It did. It got really, really scrappy. There was no real quality in Boro's play, at least in possession. And Kim Hellberg mentioned that after the game, that the last 15 minutes were quite possibly the ugliest football he's ever seen, but also in a way the most beautiful, because it was Boro digging in and really trying to get Boro over the line. And then they did in the end. A point on Luke Ayling, Matt, he was really riled up for that game. There was a moment where I think McCarmer had pulled his shirt and he was having a right old lip on to both McCarmer and the ref. And I just knew in that moment, there's a fire in Luke Ayling here. And when there's a fire in Luke Ayling, he's so good to watch, because he's the panto villain, isn't he? And yeah, the Luke Ayling flop, the shithousery, the grinning, the geeing up of the crowd, that was really a special afternoon. And there's been very many special afternoons supporting Boro this season. That was another one. Brilliant to see that.
Yeah, I think with Luke Ayling, he's shown the type of thing where you always hated him when he played for Leeds because of what he was doing. But when he's on your team, absolutely love it, because he's such a good player to have. And I think especially in terms of like game management around that time, drawing those fouls and getting the crowd G'd up, it was exactly what we needed on that front. One thing I want to note about the Norwich game, because I mentioned earlier how hard a game I thought it was and how hard I was expecting it to be. When we went in at halftime 1-0 up, I thought this is going to be crucial, I think, for both teams. Because I want to give a bit of respect to what Clement's done at Norwich so far, and he is a good manager. So it's kind of the same feeling I guess with Boro. It's like, I'll get them half time and then we can kind of sort things out. But that is one thing where I'm really starting to trust Boro on, and I think especially knowing we've got the head coach and the backroom team to actually make proactive changes at half time and sort stuff out. It does appear to me like in the last 5 games or so, we've gone in at half time and come out better because we've corrected some stuff that we were doing in the first half. And that is one thing that gives me confidence about Boro at the moment, is that we can change things if we need to. And we don't even necessarily game by game have to stick to the same sort of formation because the principles remain the same. You know, there was the Preston game, couldn't even tell you what formation we were playing, but the principles remained the same all the way through it. And we looked the same team. So that's one, like I say, it's one thing with Kim Hellberg and the way he's setting us up at the moment that I am starting to trust, and I do have confidence in, is that we approach the games in the right way and our in-game management is done in the right way.
Yeah, loved it. Loved the Kim Hellberg way, and the goal yesterday was brilliant, and I just want to talk about it because Norwich did try to play out from the back 3 times before they eventually conceded that Hayden Hackney goal. The first time, their keeper has the ball for 11 seconds. There's absolutely no pass on for him because Boro are going man for man in their marking, as you can see in the screenshot that I've put up if you're watching on YouTube. The keeper ends up playing the ball directly into midfield. I think it's Kenny McLean, it might be Jacob Wright, anyway. But because the midfield is being aggressively marked by Morris, he follows the midfielder dropping deep to receive the ball from the goalkeeper. Midfielder can't turn. He has to pass back, face his own goal, and he passes it to one of his left-sided centre-back, Rory McConville. McConville has absolutely no easy pass when he receives the ball. Norwich still can't get out and build through Boro. He ends up going back to the keeper, with Boro maintaining their man-for-man marking, and Norwich again try to build out from the back. But again, they can't do it. They go from goalkeeper to midfielder to left-back to goalkeeper. Boro are keeping Norwich exactly where they want them. And then comes the moment that Boro strike. It is a terrible ball from the goalkeeper, and this is into Jacob Wright this time. He's imminently under pressure from Aidan Morris. A lot of Boro's press comes from Aidan Morris. You'll just see him dart through the middle of the pitch and just go for it. And he does here. He nips in. Conway's actually goal side of his man, so he's able to get a really crucial foot in on the ball, on the loose ball. He plays inside to McGree, and if you watch Alan Brown throughout this move, he doesn't really arc his run, but he moves forward to the back post, which is something that we did quite a bit in that first half, and I mentioned it earlier, where that right hand side, whoever was on that right hand side, they were free. It didn't really impact the move here, but it was just something that I wanted to know anyway. And what a goal it was from Hayden Hackney! A quick touch out of his feet, and then bang, quick turnover of possession, no messing about, 1-0. He did say, Hackney, that's the best goal that he scored. I'm going to dispute that slightly because I think he scored against Stoke early last season, where he drove forward, typical Hackney drive, and he arrowed that into I think it was the same corner actually of the net. But on Hackney, you mentioned him earlier, Matt, what he said. In the Northern Echo this morning, it says, asked directly if that meant there was no chance of him leaving Middlesbrough ahead of tomorrow's 7 p.m. deadline. He said, no, I'm really happy. The manager's got me playing the way I enjoy playing, getting the best out of me. So yeah, I'm really enjoying it. That's amazing, isn't it? You know what? When he scored that goal, obviously my first thought was get in. But secondly, when the Boro fans were chanting he's one of our own, I thought about Hayden Hackney, the Boro fan. Hayden Hackney, the Boro fan that, was brought up supporting this club. Probably, it may have been ball boy at some point, I don't know, but was definitely in the stands watching, I would say, the last promotion team and the memories that they created. And he's a part of a team now that are creating memories for all of us in what will hopefully be another promotion season. But yeah, brilliant goal. Matt, for all the talk about Hellberg's Boro in possession, was it Boro's out of possession work that won them the game?
I think so, yeah. I mean, you made a very good point there, breaking down the goal, pressing from the front, forced them into the mistake. Tommy Conway proved time and time again yesterday how his relentless energy levels and his brilliant press, he sets it from the front, and it's just the energy he brings, I think, really, really helps us in that part of the pitch. And there were even times where he was, again, he did it, I can't remember what game it was, maybe it was Stoke or Preston last week, but he literally ran back 50, 60 yards to intercept one of their players. I mean, to have players who are willing to work that hard from the front is brilliant. But yeah, it's great at the top of the pitch when we're trying to win the ball high up. But I also thought yesterday when Norwich were trying to create chances themselves and they were trying to get McCarmer into the game, I saw they were moving him left, right towards the end of the game. I think they were trying to get him off Malanda, stick him on Fry, stick him on Ayling, but they all did really well. They were trying to get balls in behind him a lot in the second half, and I thought the defence read it really well. So yeah, going up against a side who, as I say, very, very in form with some very good attacking play, especially when you 1-0 up and managing the game. Boro had to be absolutely on it, out of possession. Their concentration levels had to be spot on, and we didn't really, apart from one moment at the very end when a ball went over the top. That was the only time we really had a lapse when they did get in behind. But as I said at the start, I think there's a lot of plaudits rightfully around what Hellberg's done for Boro. Going forwards, obviously, prior under the Rats, we were a solid defensive side, but creatively we were nowhere near it. And the comparisons and the improvements will rightfully be put to Hellberg around what we do creatively with the ball. But I think we were already a good defensive side, but what we're doing out of possession and how we're defending right now, I think, is really good. And we look the full package. And I don't know if we dropped it in our chat last week. There was a graphic, and I know that not everyone's a believer in XG. I am personally, but it showed the fact that the amount of chances we're creating compared to the chances we're giving up, the disparity is actually growing, and I think that's brilliant. That's just a recipe for success. So everything we're doing right now is great, and I think we're improving all over the pitch. But out of possession, maybe it's something that doesn't get as noticed. But I think we are looking really good in that part of the game as well.
Yeah, I think a lot of comparisons can be drawn between Kim Hellberg's Middlesbrough and Michael Carrick's Middlesbrough. But one thing that is, I would say, night and day is the way that we approach the game off the ball. I think under Carrick we were very passive, but here completely different. And the only reason I compare the two is like I said, in terms of creating chances, there's some similarities there. Under Rob Edwards, yeah, we've struggled up front. Matt mentioned Tommy Conway there. Do you think his endeavour in games, his work rate as well, which was on show again yesterday, do you think that he epitomises Middlesbrough out of possession?
Yeah, definitely. I think there was a moment yesterday that really summed it all up. I think it was in the first half. We'd have already been 1-up at this point, but he'd lost the ball up the pitch and then chased back to win it back. And the sprint he put on to outpace the Norwich player who had the ball, and then wins the ball back, gives it to the defenders, and starts going again. I was like, this is why he's getting picked every week. I'm glad he's got the goals over the last couple of games, but you can see even when he in a game where he doesn't score, he's making these massive contributions. I'm hopefully he does keep scoring. I put out a bit of a bold shout in our chat a couple of weeks ago that when everyone was down on him, I was like, you know what, he might go on a run, and I still think he's going to get over 10 goals this season at least. And he's not that far off it now after those last couple of games. So, yeah, hopefully he can keep a decent run of scoring. But even when he doesn't, you can see the impact he makes on the team.
Yeah, definitely. There was a big moment in the 89th minute, and we've already briefly touched upon it, but deep breath. Jovan McCarmer, he was sent through one-on-one with Sol Bryn. To me, this was Boro's Thomas Muller moment in the Euros where he was sent through and he drags the shot wide. How were you two feeling during that? Because my ass was twitching, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, same. I thought that was it. I was pretty much resigned to the fact that it was going to be 1-1. It's halfway out the ground, about to go and beat the traffic. Joking there before anyone comes in calling us a fake fan or anything. But
he's not.
Yeah. Soon as it went over Bryn, I was like, God, that's it. And then I didn't even see, I couldn't see because of how quick it happened, what exactly happened. I thought it hit like the back of McCarmer's heel or something, and maybe he just fluffed it. I didn't realise how much Dale Fry had saved the result there. So, massive credit for him to come on in the short amount of time that he did and make that sort of an impact. It just shows the quality and depth that we have throughout the squad, that people can come off the bench and make that sort of impact, whether that be at that end of the field or at the top end.
Yeah, I got a great view of it from the north, and when I think Sol Bryn, he goes to come out and then he has a moment of indecisiveness and he backs out. Luckily, he goes again. Although if he'd have just went the first time, maybe he'd have got the ball. I don't know if he would have. I mean, as Tom said, it happened so quick, and Makama is very quick. And I'm so glad Bryn committed a second time, because I think if he'd have stayed, Makama might have just been able to stick a leg out and poke it past him one side or the other. He'd have probably had quite a lot of the goal to aim for. But because Bryn comes out a second time, he has to go around Makama, and I think the ball was a little bit behind him, the striker, when he goes through, but he's still, he just has to adjust his body, and it's a tap in, unless he does an Isaiah Jones against Huddersfield and somehow gets in front of the ball and then somehow knocks it backwards.
I still can't believe that happened.
But yeah, Makama goes around the keeper, and I think, Dale Fry's contribution. I mean, he doesn't give up on it. He tracks him all the way, and I think back to, I can't remember what Premier League season it was, when City pipped Liverpool at the title, and John Stones had that sliding tackle where he cleared it off the line, and that was like the moment that, sort of you look back on and say, wow, that might have won them the title or whatever. And I think similar to that moment, if we do get up this season by 2 points or a point or whatever it might end up being, fingers crossed, that Dale Fry moment is going to stand out for me. I know there's a million gazillion variables every week, every goal counts and all that, but yesterday that contribution in that moment was huge from Dale Fry, and you can't ask for any more of a defender who's come off the bench to make that impact, as Tom said. So hopefully that will be worth it at the end of the season, and that will be a huge moment that gives us the 2 points we got yesterday and takes us on to success, because wow, I thought it was in. It was quick, but it was in slow motion as well. And I couldn't believe he clawed it from under Makama's feet. It was incredible defending.
Yeah, it was a significant touch, a significant interception. He was brilliant when he came on, Dale Fry, tasked with probably just helping Boro see the game out, and he absolutely did that. It felt like he got his head on it, everything, and that moment was, my God, I thought that was in. I really did. I celebrated that like it was a goal. I think it was as good as a goal, and massive credit to him, because, for all the world, it felt like Makama would just put the ball into an empty net, and the ball was behind him slightly. He runs ahead of it, but Dale Fry, grappling, physical, fantastic defending, gets that big foot in, and thank God he did. Tom, Riley McGree was back in the starting 11, so too Callum Britton. David Strelic came off the bench as well to return from injury. How excited are you to see this Middlesbrough team back to near full strength?
Oh, very. It's difficult to say they've been missed when we still put together the results that we have. But it's nice to be able to have that depth in the squad and not have to worry about, if we get another injury here, we're properly in the shit. I think the main worry at the moment is that, reading online that apparently Newcastle are still mulling over recalling Matt Targett. And then, if they do that on deadline day, it's yet another reason to hate them. But it'd be a tricky one for us to navigate. I'm sure we've probably got some ideas of what to do, but hopefully it doesn't come to that. But with the rest of the team, I was really happy to see Callum Britton and Riley McGree back in yesterday, because they are two quality players, and they do make a big impact in this team. So really happy with that. And then to be able to bring Strelic off the bench, it's nice to have another striker to give Conway a bit of a rest at times when he's run his heart out for 70-80 minutes.
Yeah. Matt, the scenes at the end of the game, the Hellberg salute and him chanting with the Boro fans as well after that, how good is it to see that from your manager?
It's fantastic. I love the guy so much. I mean, I will say, if I'm being immensely critical, his fist pumps at the end of the game yesterday weren't quite as good as the
No,
ones
they
that he's.
weren't.
So his performance levels have dropped in that respect, and I hope he improves in future weeks. But no, I honestly I love the guy. I find him fascinating to listen to. I love watching his press conferences. He comes across as such an intelligent head coach. I feel like we are so lucky to have him. But it's not just like he's a robot who is just, engrossed in football and tactics and whatever. He also has a side to him where you can tell he really cares. And I think when it's all said and done, he does let his emotion out and he does celebrate with the fans. And especially now, because at the start, you could tell he was a little bit shy to start with. He had to get pushed. First few weeks, he was having to get pushed towards the south stand a little bit. Now he's just like waiting for the players to do their bit, and he's straight over, and he's really embracing it. And it's great. It really is. I love his personality. I love the way he speaks. His press conferences are great, considering it's his second language as well. He speaks so well about the game and about football. And happy birthday to him, by the way. I think it's today.
Oh yeah, happy birthday, Kim Hellberg. It is today, yeah.
It is. So I hope he's having a great day. Well, whatever he's doing, his family are over here now as well, which is awesome for him. So love everything about the guy. And I think just that added little bit of personality that he's showing at the end of games, I think just builds a connection even more with the fan base and helps us, invest in him a bit more. And I think that overall then helps within games. He's not a robot like Gary Monk was, for example. He's he's got the lot. I love him, and I really, really hope he's a success here, because so far, yeah, he's been fantastic.
The fact that the whole of the South Stand was still there after the end of the game just shows how much of, I don't know, an event that it is after the game. I see so many managers up and down the EFL doing the post-match salutes, but I don't see many of them joining in with the chants after the game. I mean, I love seeing that. I love it more than the fist pumps, and I agree with you, his fist pumps were a bit cack this game. I think he just needed to probably pronounce the first one a little bit better, but still just brilliant to see that from him. And I think it kind of pulls us nicely into the Praise Place. Yes, we are in the Praise and Place, and I'm sure there's plenty of picks for praise today. Tom, do you want to kick us off? Who gets in your Praise and Place after the 1-0 victory over Norwich?
You know what? I'm probably going to go with a bit of a cop-out answer this week and say everyone. Everyone in the team, all the fans yesterday, the coach and staff. I think everyone deserves it. When I've been thinking about who I would put in it, I was like, Hackney, Morris, Ayling, Melander, and I was like, I feel like I picked those four for the last couple of weeks running. So, but then if I'm picking those four, is it like anyone else doesn't deserve to be in it? Because Conway deserves to be in it, Britton and Target too. So I'm just gonna have to go with everyone. Like I say, a bit of a cop out answer, but everyone did deserve it from yesterday.
I think that's completely fine, to be fair. Tom Muldowney, one of our long-term listeners, said, just wanted to say a word for Adi Vivash. He's been consistent throughout the season on the coaching team. Obviously stepped in when we needed him, and no doubt has played a massive role in bridging the gap and helping that transition to the new manager and style. Definitely deserves a spot in the Praise and Place for me. Matt, who gets in your Praise and Place?
Yeah, well, I was going to say Middlesbrough Football Club. Actually, just the best way to sort of stick us all under the same umbrella, I guess, and just praise everybody, because, like I say, I think it was just a collective yesterday of players on the pitch giving their all, fans from all corners of the stadium getting up, chanting, cheering every single pass, tackle, clearance, the impact from the subs as well, and just the way Kim Hellberg's got this team playing, it kind of feels harsh to pick someone out and not include them after yesterday. It felt like that big of a victory. Just everything about the club at the minute is just great, and I echo the sentiment you said at the start, D. I know we will always have that, that what if in the back of our mind of what if it goes wrong, and the anxiety that lives within every football fan. I think it's probably not just us, but we have been scarred many a time. You've just got to enjoy this right now, because it's probably the best Middlesbrough Football Club we've seen the best part of a decade. As close as, well, the Carrick playoff team probably comes as close to this, but even they weren't achieving what this team's achieving right now. So this is really special, and chuck everyone in there. Why not?
Yeah, I agree. I will put everyone in there, but I want to spotlight Hayden Hackney, who I thought was an immense drive in that game. The way that he glides past players, like I wouldn't mark him as particularly quick, and he's not the type of dribbly boy where he's doing all the step overs and whatever. I think you'll probably see that from Jeremy Sarmiento, but he's so incredibly efficient at just being direct and running past players like they're not even there. I think it's a brilliant trait for him to have, and I think he's up there with one of the best players in the Championship, certainly the best midfielder in the Championship, I think. And yesterday was, for a lot of the game, the Hayden Hackney show, and I'm quite enjoying the Hayden Hackney show. So I want to spotlight Hackney, and I want to spotlight Del Fry as well, because yeah, when he came on, he was superb, did everything that you would want from him. And every time I think that Del Fry just has no chance of getting back into this Middlesbrough team, he comes on and he shows how good of a defender he is. Like, you think about the fact that Luke Ayling and Malander and Jones have been fantastic, and Del Fry's been out injured. Del Fry is still fantastic in his own right, and we've got a question about the centre-back pairings later on. But to know that we've got a genuine like conveyor belt of quality at centre-back is fantastic. So I want to spotlight him, and I want to spotlight the fans as well. Yeah, when the news filtered through that Coventry were losing, that belief was palpable, and that was a very special moment yesterday. The support throughout was fantastic, but particularly around 75 minutes or so. And bear in mind as well, I think just after that, Makama had that shot that it like curled over the bar, and I sat back in my seat and I thought, I turned to my dad and I went, ooh. So that was like a heart plunging moment where I thought, okay, the ball's broke to the player that you probably don't want it to break to. And he's had a shot and it's gone incredibly close. It's just whizzed past the post or the crossbar. The fans were bloody fantastic throughout that whole game. If I could bottle that emotion and that feeling and that volume and just revisit it and go back to that game yesterday, I'd love to. I'd do it right now instead of podcasting. As much as I love podcasting with you guys, I'd go back to the Riverside yesterday and just be a part of that atmosphere again, because I really think it was special. Right. If you want to put your praise and place picks in the comments, there's a lot of P's going on there. Please do, because I'm sure there's a lot of praise to be dished out after that game yesterday. But we will move on now to podcast questions. It is podcast questions now. You know where to find us. We're going to start with Glenn, who asks, should we now start to dream about the title? Off recent form, there's no better team in this league than us. And within the same vein, Kevin on Blue Sky says, it's the end of January. Are we believing yet? Mr. Tom Green, are you believing yet?
Football gods, Dana. Football gods. Ask us at the end of February.
No.
Talk to me again about that in a couple of games' time, because these two, I'm still looking at this as a cluster of 6 games from where we were 4 months ago, whenever that was, early in January, right? We were talking about it on the podcast, and we were like, I think we all kind of came out between like 7 to 12 points from this cluster of 6 games, and we've took 12 already. The next 2, I think, are going to be like defining for us. We're going to a team in Sheffield United where we barely ever win a Bramall Lane. I remember, if I wasn't there to witness it in person, I wouldn't believe that we actually did it in the first season under Carrick when Akpom scored. And other than that, my memories of any game at Bramall Lane are all losses, and quite heavy losses as well. So if we can go there and get something there, and the even bigger one, if we can go to Coventry and get something there against a team that we never beat, or, tend to get anything against, then I'll start to probably get carried away. I've still got a lot of belief in this team that we can go on to accomplish something. But I think this next couple of games are going to be really telling as to where we are and where we're going.
Yeah, I think on the Like when we looked ahead to these run of fixtures, I think I said that them 2 games could be make and break for Borough's top 2 hopes. Now we put ourselves in a fine position that I don't think it's quite that dramatic, but yeah, they are 2 mouth-watering prospects there for Borough. But I really do, and I'm really pessimistic when it comes to Middlesbrough because I've just been used to crap, really, supporting this football club and watching this football club and disappointment. So that's my norm. But I just feel like if I don't believe in this team now, when will I? And I put that question to any listeners that may also be thinking, just to put the brakes on a little bit. If you don't believe in Boro now, will you ever? Because I think that right now the team absolutely deserve your belief, and I don't mean belief that's paired with arrogance. It's belief and pride. I don't think anybody is getting carried away, like I said earlier. I don't think anybody expects Boro to win the league, but why can't we believe in it? Football tribalism is so rife, and I'm sure there'll be someone laughing at us when Boro next drop points. It'll probably be a Coventry fan, to be honest, considering that we're right up their backsides. But for now, let's really enjoy this and let's believe in this football club because they've given us every reason to believe. Well, Matt, what about you? You believe in?
I am. I was going to say, Tom,
Yes.
all you've got to do is believe, Tom. That's all you've got to do. I do agree, though. I think the next 2 are massive. But as Tom said, at the end of every month, I've found myself saying exactly that. If we're still there at the end of insert month name here, and then we get to the end of that month and we're there again. And if we are looking like a team who's just getting better and better, then I'm more so, I think the question I should be asking myself is, find a reason not to believe in this team. Can I think of one that's not just, oh, Middlesbrough Football Club have let me down in the past? Well, yeah, they have. Every club has let their fan down in the past. I can't think of many reasons to not believe in this team right now. We just have to keep doing what we're doing. And arguably, we've probably took a bit of pressure off the next 2 games. I know there's still a lot of pressure on them, but I'd rather be in the position we're in now than 3rd or Ipswich level on goal difference or Hull are above us. I think the pressure on them 2 games ramps up massively. But if you can take 3 points from the next 2, I don't think you're in a bad position. I'd rather them 3 points be against Coventry, of course, but margin for error is massive, and I think we've gave ourselves a little bit going into the next 2. And I mean, if you come out of there, we're still second. We've got some really good games at home, and I think kick on again. So, yeah, everything crossed. We come away from them 2 games with something.
Next question is from Mark, who asks, who is our key man? Pick one player to be guaranteed to be fit and in form until the end of the season. I'm gonna go Hackney straight off the bat. What about you 2?
Malander.
Oh, good.
Because
Yeah,
I don't think anyone can replace his quality in defence, and I'm not saying that no one can replace Hackney's quality because it was a really tough decision between those 2. But I think we've got enough quality and depth in centre midfield that we can probably work around that. I don't think we've got the same quality and depth in defence.
I was going to say Malander as well, actually. I don't know if we'd have fared as well against Makama yesterday if we didn't have Malander on him. And I don't know if there's a coincidence that since he started, we've had how many clean sheets? 3 and 5, is it? We've not conceded a goal at home yet this year, I think. Might be more of a collective thing, and Malander's just a part of that, but he just looks so good. And I think Borough's look at centre-half has been pretty horrendous over the last few seasons with injury, so keep him fit, put him alongside anyone. I think we'll have a good defence.
Is it 5 games, 5 wins for Malander? Apart from was it the Fulham game? He did play in that, didn't he? And we lost it, but whatever. League Cup doesn't matter. So 5 league games, 5 wins for Malander. I mean, he's slotted in perfectly, really. I think it just shows his quality. And to be fair, I will credit our centre-backs, whoever plays well. And I think that's a sign of good individual players that no matter who their centre-back partner is, they're performing. Colin asks, on the trail of centre-backs, actually, does Fry get to start a match again this season? Malander is an awesome buy and Bill is worth his weight in gold right now. Matt, what's your take on that? Does Fry get back in?
I think Ayling's in on merit right now, and his experience is so key. I think we saw that yesterday. I'd be very harsh to drop Luke Ayling right now, and that's nothing against Dale Fry. That's just a sheer compliment to the strength and depth we have at centre back right now. Touch wood, it stays that way because, as I say, we seem to pick up defensive injuries in waves. They're all fit, or none of them are fit really, or we have one that's struggling to just be fit. So hopefully they all do stay fit. And then, yeah, I think you've got to stick with Ayling for now. But then what happens when Alfie Jones comes back? He was one of our best players of the season up until he got injured as well. It's an embarrassment of riches at centre back right now, which is a good thing. But I'd keep it as is for now.
Just to add something on there as well.
I was going to say, just spawn Jonathan Woodgate in to say that we've got options, Don, because to be fair, we do. And by the way, this week is the anniversary of that happening, that press conference. So thank you for that, Jonathan Woodgate. You have made a meme for life.
Just on that question about Dale Fry, I think there's a chance he could start again this season, but I don't think it's necessarily the case that he needs to be picked over Ayling or Malander. We might go into next week and Hellberg's thinking he's done his research on Sheffield United. Maybe we match them up, go 5 at the back, have 3 centre-backs and Fry's in that way. That's going back to what I was saying earlier. It doesn't matter about the formation we play if the principles are the same. So I could see him getting a start that way, to be honest, possibly in the next couple of games if we decide to do that.
Tom, sticking with you, Ted asks, am I the only one who is a bit worried we haven't signed a keeper as backup for Sol Bryn? McLaughlin is 38 and hasn't played a first-team game in over a year. And similar with Seny Dieng, who wasn't in great form the last time he played.
It's hard to say for me because I've never seen McLaughlin play.
Yeah, neither.
he might come in and just kind of do the job and be similar to what Dimmy was for us at that age. Like, obviously, the age has been mentioned there, but you know, Dimmy played for us at a ripe old age and still, you know, did his job well. So I don't think age is necessarily that much of a thing for goalkeepers. Not played a first team game in over a year. Fair enough, I can see the point there. He might be a bit rusty. But as I've not seen him play, and I wouldn't know what to expect from him. I would assume that in the summer we will sign some reinforcement in the goalkeeper area. But I'm not necessarily too worried about that right now.
I feel like he does screen the third choice goalkeeper that is currently second choice. And I would be interested if Boro are keen on a goalkeeper towards, I know that we're recording this on Sunday and the deadline's tomorrow, but maybe they will just bring in a goalkeeper to be, because I know Seny Dieng's linked with a move away, isn't he? I think is he bound for Hull, or at least was recently. So Boro may actually need a goalkeeper anyways. The final question, we got a few of these actually from Guy, Jake and Jay, all asking, do Boro need a centre forward? Matt, do Boro need a centre forward?
I'm going to be greedy and say yes, because if Conway gets injured, then I think we're in a bit of bother. Strelets, I still think is struggling to get up to speed, and Sen, we don't know how long he'll be out for. So we're a Conway injury away from being in trouble there. I know we rely on a lot of goals coming from a lot of different areas, which I think is great. It's a great trait to have. But if we can get a centre forward, I don't care. There's no ceiling on how many goals a team can score. If we can get a centre forward in, then absolutely, I would go for it. Just to make absolutely sure we can get to where we need to be.
Tom, your opinion?
Needs, maybe, like
I don't think we need one. I'm not gonna lie. I think the need for one is less now than it was a few weeks ago.
Yeah, I think it's a nice to have, and I mean the name everyone's talking about is Adam Armstrong. If we get Adam Armstrong tomorrow in like dramatic deadline day signing, where he turns up at the training ground and there's, you know, dildos being put into Sky Sports presenters' ears and stuff like that.
I wonder where he was going with that. Where's Tom going with that?
Just Harry Redknapp will be involved somehow. All the transfer deadline day tropes. If we get him tomorrow and he has the same sort of impact that Jordan Rhodes had when we went up, and he'd pop up a few times in the remaining games with some crucial goals, then who's arguing that? Like, but I agree with you, Dana. I think the need is less than what it was a few weeks ago. But if we got him, I certainly wouldn't be complaining.
Yeah, I think you summed up perfectly. It's a nice to have. But with Armstrong, the latest reports that it seems unlikely. They are probably going to play a hard ball with it. Southampton, they'll need to sign a striker anyway, because I think Cameron Archer is joining Rangers on loan, so they'll have Adam Armstrong and Ross Stewart. So they'll may need to bring in a third one. And how many times are you going to actually sign a striker on deadline day? It's one of those things where the moving parts have to be, well, moving in order to enable those falling dominoes, if you will. So I don't feel like Boro will bring someone in. And if they do, I don't feel like it'll be Adam Armstrong. But let's see. I'm not showing the team yet. It's only Wednesday. Anyway, let's look forward to the next few games, because we have spoken about Sheffield United and Coventry. How are we feeling going into those ones? Because we go into the Sheffield United game off the back of 5 consecutive wins. Tom, you were talking about, I guess, your anxiety about going to Bramall Lane, which is completely understandable given Boro's overall record there in the last few years. But Matt, what do you think about the next 2 games, starting with that Sheffield United game? Are you feeling confident?
I've got no reason not to feel confidence in Boro, and I don't want to downplay what we're capable of. But I do look at them too, and I think they're pretty good home sides. I was looking at Sheffield United, and I think a lot of their home issues came earlier on in the season, because they're quite low in the sort of home league table, but they've come off the back of beating Ipswich at home. Prior to that, they beat Leicester at home, who are a bit of a shambles. They beat Birmingham at home 3-0, who aren't a great away side. Then they beat Stoke 4-0 before that. So they've scored at least 3 goals in each of their last kind of 3 or 4 home games. But I wouldn't say their opposition were great teams either. So I'm struggling to get a true read on Sheffield United. I think it's just Bramall Lane is just that sort of a ground where it can swallow you up if you're not on it. So hopefully Boro start well and get to grips with that game. And we know what Boro's record like. If we go 1-0 up there, we're spotless. So that, yeah, maybe we're looking more superstitiously at that game as how difficult it could be. Coventry, though, best home team in the league, won 11 of their 14 home games, losing only 1. For all of that, what they've been hopeless on the road, they are still ridiculously good at home. So that could be tough. So, yeah, I have faith that we can get something from both. Winning both, though, I think would be, dear me, I think Johnny said in our chat, didn't he? If he thinks we win both, it's done and we're up. And I certainly hope that's a bold take that he's right with. I think you just have to try and... Yeah, it won't. I think you just need to get something from both. I'd be happy with 2 draws, especially Coventry, because then they don't pull away from us. But then I guess a win and a defeat's better, because you come out with it with 3 points instead of 2. But it's going to be tough, isn't it? Just get through them and try and not get beaten both. I know that sounds a bit pessimistic, but yeah, this is probably the biggest hurdle we're going to have to get over between now and the end of the season, maybe. Fixtures look quite good after this. So just get through them and still be top 2, and we'll be good.
Yeah, it's 2 wins from our last 6 trips to Bramall Lane. And I think what scars me the most is that 4-1 defeat in March of 2022. I think that it always plays in the back of my mind. But yeah, we go into these games with confidence, and I think a draw at Coventry it'll be as good as a win given our record against them. But oh my God, if we can beat both of those teams, if you're not believing after that, you will never believe. But let's see what will happen in those games. Tom, how are you feeling about that Coventry game?
You know what? I mean, I know you're about the Coventry game there, but if we can go to Bramall Lane and get a win, judging from what the Coventry fans were like on social media and their forums and stuff yesterday, I think that puts all the pressure on them going into that game. And then it's the question of will they handle it. I know they've got the best home form, but if we can do something against Sheffield United, I think that does put a lot of pressure on that game for them. And I do think that with this coaching staff in charge and the form that we're on, this is, even though it's an away game, our best chance of getting something against Coventry for quite some time. So, yeah, we'll see.
Yeah, I echo that completely, Tom. I really do. And I think that's a good way to end the podcast. But if you've enjoyed this show, please do remember to give it a like, subscribe to us on YouTube, and share this podcast with your friends as well. If you want to support us financially so we can reinvest in the podcast, we do have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the description of all of our episodes. But yeah, what another brilliant week to support Middlesbrough Football Club. Hopefully next week will be much the same. But until then, take care, and the Boro Breakdown.